Okay, kiddos, we are going to be learning how to properly shade a sphere. Some tools that are really important that you must have for this is your 6B Prismacolor ebony pencil. These can be purchased on Amazon, and there is a link on the syllabus that I'm hoping that you guys have already seen. Your needed sticky eraser is really important if you need to back up any of these layers and add more. That's very important to have as a sticky eraser. And then I personally like to have a little bitty tiny metal sharpener. Any type of little pencil sharpener is great, but these just tend to be very durable and last a really long time and sharpen the pencils really well. So also just having a regular latex eraser along with your gum eraser is important for your drawing toolbox. So what we're going to be doing is labeling the highlight. And don't begin yet, this is just an example. The midtone, the shadow, and the cast shadow. And you can refer to this as the core shadow. So cast shadow. Okay, so those are the parts that are very, very important. We'll also be putting a horizon line. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to a fresh part of my sketchbook. Now you can freehand your circle, or you can take a regular pencil. It's very important to have a light outline here. Now heavy outlines, our goal is to eliminate heavy outlines, so we really don't like heavy outlines, okay? So here is the beginning of my sphere, and then as always use a straight edge to have straight lines. This is just a little note card, and then I am going to be repeating the same highlight up in the top right corner. So probably have our cast shadow maybe somewhere like around here, just depending on how it ends up. Okay, so take your 6B pencil, and I like to begin right around the 5 o'clock area. We'll be putting our highlight between 12 and 3. So tiny, tiny circles is how I want you to shade. And please don't forget to leave this little tiny sliver of the reflective highlight down at the bottom. Okay, we're going to try and get as close in to that area as possible. And we want to have smooth, very smooth shading. Now it's important to start in this C curve. Okay, so this curve that I always describe as like a C curve or a moon crescent curve going around. Very important to keep that curve all the way up into your highlight, okay? Have nice sharp edges. The thicker and heavier you go into the highlight area, you can easily lose your midtone. So if you mess up, just start again. Near the highlight, your pencil will hover as if it's barely touching the page. Lots of smooth polishing in a circular motion. Leave a teeny tiny sliver for that reflective light. We will really define that when we outline the outside. And don't forget that the base of any object is the darkest, or the base of the shadow, and then it fades out lighter. Okay, we can come back to this part. I just really wanted to kind of clean up that edge. Our main focus here is really mastering that smooth, gradual value scale up to the highlight. Oops. Now, when you're shading, I'm using that really gentle gum, that kneaded eraser. If you go heavy with an eraser, like a regular pencil eraser, onto an area that has delicate value shading, you could damage the paper a little bit to where when you shade back over it, it just goes dark and doesn't give you the value you want. So it's important to be very gentle when erasing. So around your highlight, your pencil is hardly touching the page. So this pointed section right here and this pointed section right here are really going to solidify the curve of the midtone and the shadow to give that highlight the contrast it needs. You don't want your sphere to be floating in space, so give it a nice smooth surface to sit on. And if you feel like the highlight does need just a little bit of backup, your sticky eraser for that. Okay, as long as you have smooth incremental values, then it's all great. Don't go crazy with the eraser trying to back everything up, because then it might create a lot of smudging that might make you have to start over again. Okay, so just learn from your mistakes and know that we're here to learn this stuff, not be good at it in the beginning. And we can go ahead and label. Make sure my shadow doesn't stick out too far. It's a little long over here. And just kind of blend it into the background. Okay, let's go ahead and label our parts. So we of course have the highlight, the midtone, shadow, or the core shadow, cast shadow. Okay, so those are all of the important parts, and then we don't want to forget that right in there is the reflective light. That's very important. I feel like I didn't quite capture it as well as I normally do. it could come up just a little bit over here. But since light hits a table surface and then bounces back, it's very important to capture it. Okay, so you've got your reflective light, coarse shadow, your cast shadow, your midtone, and your highlight. So that is all the parts to your sphere. Don't forget to put your name in the bottom right-hand corner and submit.